welcome to Light On Light Through, episode 399. My review of the first two episodes of Dune Prophecy, now showing on HBO Max. Well, it's Thanksgiving here in New York. It's a rainy day. I thought maybe I'd warm up your evening, and if you're listening to this in the next few days, the whole weekend, with my review of the first two episodes of certainly not a heartwarming show, but something that I think if you are a science fiction lover, you'll very much enjoy. So I'm going to review the first two episodes of Dune Prophecy. So far, those are the only episodes up here, at least in the United States. There will be no spoilers in this review until about halfway down into the review, when, of course, I'll give you a warning. So let's start with the first episode. This prequel to the Dune series takes place 10,148 years. You can look up or ask some AI whether that's Earth years. And this is 10,148 years before the birth of Paul Atreides, who, of course, was the central character in the first two, three, or maybe even more of the books in the Dune series. And we're told this when this new prequel series, Dune Prophecy, is taking place near the beginning of its first episode. Now, I have to say, the Dune series of novels, in my mind and in my estimation, are second only to the Foundation series of novels. I've thought that ever since I started reading science fiction many, many years ago. And the first episode of Dune Prophecy does have a lot in common with the first Dune novel by Frank Herbert. Both have some scenes I'd rather not have read or seen, and both start off way too slowly, but Dune proceeded to be monumental in its story and impact, and Dune Prophecy looks like it could be headed in that direction too. The essence of Dune Prophecy is the establishment and growth into power of the Bene Gesserit, one of the most compelling components of the future Dune saga. And the characters in this powerful order that seeks to guide and control the universe by breeding the most appropriate humans for the job are well introduced in the first episode of Dune Prophecy, but my favorite character is Desmond Hart, played by Travis Fimmel, whom I first noticed in his incandescent role of Ragnar Lothbrok in Vikings. That was a great series. And he has a way, that is, Travis Fimmel has a way of speaking and acting that dominates every scene he's in and leaves an indelible impression. Now, I saw someone on social media remarking that Dune Prophecy was just Game of Thrones in outer space. I did hear someone comment in Dune Prophecy about, quote, bending, unquote, someone's will, and as I said, there was a scene or two I would rather not have seen, but the Dune story first came out in two serials published in Analog magazine way back in 1964 and 1965, followed by the initial novel in 1965. So, if Game of Thrones and Dune Prophecy have any connection, it's that Thrones was influenced by the narrative qualities of prophecy rather than vice versa. And I think Dune Prophecy has a freshness and some unexpected turns, which I won't tell you about, at least not yet, all its own. I will tell you that Mark Strong as Emperor Javico Corino is memorable. The Emperors have always been among my favorite Dune characters. as are Emily Watson and Olivia Williams as the Harkonnen sisters, who play such important roles. So, if you've been a devotee of the Dune saga, you can't go wrong with Prophecy. And if you haven't read or watched yourself into the Dune universe, you don't know what you're missing. Okay, so now let me tell you there will be spoilers as I turn to the second episode in Dune Prophecy, episode 1.2, because there's nothing I have an interest in talking about that takes place in this remarkable episode that doesn't contain spoilers. Now, I just told you that I thought Desmond Hart, played by Travis Fimmel, was my favorite character, in part because Fimmel is a uniquely memorable actor, and in part because the character he's playing was starting to do some remarkable things even in the first episode. Not just the horrible thing of killing the boy by making him burn from the inside out, which I would just as soon not have seen, but the far more extraordinary thing of burning Kasha, a Bene Gesserit member at the same time, who, quote, was halfway across the universe, unquote, as was remarked upon in episode 1.2. Now, that's a power that far exceeds anything the Bene Gesserit can do. And in episode 1.2, we see Hart has another extraordinary power. He's able to defy Valia's order delivered by a voice. I don't know, I can't do voice, but the order is to slit his own throat. By the way, I can't do voice because I'm not Bene Gesserit. Now, this command, delivered via voice, was the very command that Valia used to permanently silence Dorothea in episode 1.1. Well, maybe not quite permanently. We do see Dorothea talking at Sister Lila when Lila is in that Never Never Land that the poison she has ingested, which she is supposed to be breaking down into non-poisonous molecules, is coursing through her poor body and brain. But you know what I mean. Episode 1.2 also gives us at least a partial answer of how Hart got to have such power. He says he was ingested via a sandworm, and came out alive in possession of his powers. That, of course, still leaves open the question of who is Hart that he managed to survive such a power-bestowing ordeal, but it's a good start. And meanwhile, in other highlights in this second episode of Dune Prophecy, there was a legitimately good sex scene between Constantine Corino, an illegitimate son of the Emperor, and Lady Shannon Riches, or Riches, I have no idea how to pronounce these names. She's the older sister of the slain boy, much older, by the way, she's not a child. Now, this happens, the good sex scene, in contrast to a subsequent scene in which Kieran Atreides, who, of course, as you know, is bound to have an important role in this series, and Princess Inez, a legitimate princess, not to have sex. They elected not to have sex, okay? That was their decision, but you know, that almost certainly means they eventually will. Anyway, I think Dune Prophecy is off to a very good start indeed, and I hope to see you back here as I deliver more reviews of subsequent episodes of this excellent new series in the weeks ahead.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
And I hope you enjoyed that review of the first two episodes of Dune Prophecy on HBO Max. I will be back here pretty soon, and again, it could be an interview, it could be a review of the next few episodes of Dune Prophecy, it could be a review of something else completely. In the meantime, stay safe, stay sound, and enjoy.
The Light on Light Through podcast.
Athens, 2042 AD. She ripped the paper in half, then ripped the halves, then ripped what was left again into bits and pieces of history that could have been. Sierra Waters had read once that, years ago, it was thought that men made love for the thrill, while women made love for the sense of connection it gave them.
Curled Up with a Good Book says, Sierra Waters is sexy as hell. You can find out more about The Plot to Save Socrates by Paul Levinson at theplottosavesocrates.com.
Your brilliant story, it's real life.
Paul Levinson's Silk Code, about an ancient biotech war raging on in secret for centuries.
Read it.